Welcome to the show, I'm Ryan Gomez.
And I am psyched for this episode
because we are going over what we learned from the Loading Ready Run Pre-Prerelease for Amonkhet.
Ow! Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a pre-release primer for Amonkhet. We're obviously all psyched for the pre-release this weekend.
So excited, I can't wait to go. I know what I'm hoping to open, but we'll talk about that later. All right, so number one tip that we can offer you after watching our friends Loading Ready Run, they did their pre-release last weekend. We have a link to it down below, so check that out. But if you're just looking for some quick takeaways here, I think number one is...
Well, okay, so the ground gets gummed up really fast. The creatures are cheap, and you're always gonna have guys to embalm, so the ground's gonna get really gummed up. So there are two ways to kind of build your deck to circumvent this. The first one is to make sure you've got a lot of flyers.
Yeah, go over the top of that ground game and get over those dudes with the big turtly butts because they're just gonna block all day. You gotta go up high, get some birds, get some avens, get some sphinx.
So like, everyone's got a big butt in this format. There's a 2/4 for 3 at common. Yeah. So, and that's not really a thing we've ever seen before. So flying is going to be very important. The other important thing you can do, the zombies, they seem to have a kind of token theme.
Yeah, you can make a lot of them pretty cheaply and you can kind of go around your opponent's defenses. So just keep spamming those little dudes out there and overwhelm. That's another way to do it.
So if you're going the token strategy, a good thing to keep in mind is the white flyer with the exert trigger. You get, all your creatures get +1/+1.
Yeah, we got to see that one in action. It's pretty sweet.
Chat, this is what I'm considering because the exert is pretty good.
Oh, it's all your creatures?
2, 3, yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7.
Help. Someone said help.
So once you've got your creatures figured out, the next thing you've got to keep an eye on is the graveyard, not just your own, but your opponent's as well.
Absolutely. So what's going to happen is both players are going to be playing creatures. Those creatures are going to die. And then what happens is you've got a situation where your opponent has got some embalmed creatures and you've got some embalmed creatures, and you need to make sure you know how much mana your opponent's got, how much their embalm cost, because what that's going to do is it's going to inform what they've got in their hand. If they maybe have 7 lands and they spend 4 mana to embalm, maybe that means all their cards in their hand are really expensive and they're just trying to bait a removal spell with an embalm.
Sure, not only that, but even if your opponent has no cards in hand, you might think that it's safe to start playing out stuff, and you're totally forgetting the fact that they could have creatures in the bin that could come back and start blocking or attacking next turn. They might even have aftermath cards tucked away in there that are just as live as they would be in their hands. So you gotta watch.
Yeah. So, and not only do you want to keep track of your opponent's stuff, you don't want to be the person caught at the pre-release forgetting you could have won that game because you had an embalmed creature in the graveyard. It happens to everyone of every skill level. So just make sure you're mindful of that.
How does one embalm a hologram?
Yeah,
that sounds like a hard job.
It's a weird one.
Man.
It's an illusion, mummified illusion.
All the mummies look sweet.
So once you've got your creature situation figured out, you've figured out, okay, I gotta keep track of both graveyards, I gotta be mindful of that stuff at all times. The third thing is, cycling has a huge impact on any limited format. So I don't know if you played with cycling before, but what happens is there's an emphasis on cheaper things, and cycling just tends to smooth out your draws. You get to splash a lot of stuff. It makes things a lot easier.
Exactly, and you can even keep hands maybe a little bit more aggressively with just a few lands in there and a few cycling cards because you'll be able to find lands early on rather than taking that mulligan and going down a card.
In addition, you can also build your mana bases a little more aggressively. This means maybe splashing for that 3rd or even a 4th color, but even maybe you play 16 or 15 lands instead of 17 because you've got a lot of cyclers. You don't want to get flooded with all that mana in the late game. You want to keep drawing that gas. So what you do is maybe you play a little more lands or a little less lands.
However you want to do it. Another strategy you can employ here is to take cards that would maybe normally be in your sideboard and run them a bit more aggressively in your main deck because a lot of them have cycling built in as well. So if you find a card that's not particularly relevant for your current matchup, just get rid of it and draw something else.
Forsake the Worldly and Scarab Feast are kind of examples of these really narrow answer cards that they might be awesome on a board or they might not even apply, but they're great because if they don't apply, you just cycle them away and get a fresh card.
End of turn. I'm gonna cycle Stirless Summons.
Okay, make a dude.
So I get a 2/2.
That seems good.
It's pretty good.
So there we go, lots of great tips for your first event with Amonkhet. Maybe you're playing at the pre-release this weekend, maybe you're going to join a sealed league or something a little bit later on. No matter how you tackle it, you want to keep these things in mind.
I am so pumped for this pre-release this weekend. So what is the card you wanted to open? Because I'm actually curious.
You know what? I'm actually eager to devote myself to whichever god shows up first in my pool. I don't even have a favorite yet. They all look awesome, and whoever thinks I'm worthy, I will be their champion.
So, okay, I want to highlight something because this was ridiculous. The first god got spoiled. I believe it was the red one.
Yeah.
And you
Hazoret.
You predicted the text on every single god to me.
I was pretty close.
The minute that was spoiled. I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty crazy.
Well, if you know, put in the time and study the developer blogs and kind of get a sense for where their head is at in terms of design, it's not that hard. I could teach you.
That's crazy.
But I'd have to charge. So get out there and join in a pre-release this weekend or sealed league or whatever. Have fun with it. Amonkhet looks like it's an amazing set, and while you're learning all about it, you can visit us at TCGplayer.com.
Yes, magic.tcgplayer.com has all the articles by the pros. We're talking about Amonkhet mostly. It's all Amonkhet all the time. The flavor of this set is sweet. There are some bonkers cards, so check that out. We've got articles by the pros. We've got singles. Pre-orders are available right now. You can buy, you can sell your stuff to us on buy list. It's a cycle. It goes around. You sell your cards, you get more cards, and then you sell those and you get more. It's good stuff.
Good cycle, good cycle. All right, thanks to our friends at Loading Ready Run. We love watching the pre-release. We'll see you guys shortly. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Bye, Internet.